Hey guys, what's up? This is Bharat and we've received a really cool package from OnePlus and hopefully it's got the OnePlus 5 inside. So I'm excited to take it apart and see what's inside. So let's quickly get started. Now, OnePlus typically sends bigger than usual boxes with lots of stuff in them. So hopefully we have some extra goodies in there as well. But the company has launched the OnePlus 5 officially in the global market and now officially in India. So I'm going to quickly open this box up and lift the flap. There are actually two phones inside. One is the 64GB plus 6GB variant and one is the 8GB RAM plus 128GB variant. Luckily for us, they're available in both the colors. So we've got them in the midnight black along with the slate gray. So without wasting any time, let's quickly go ahead and unbox these phones. So first thing inside the box of the phone is the OnePlus 5 itself. The phone is quite sleek. It's made out of anodized aluminum, but I'm going to take a look at that in just a minute. Now inside the red flap is a bunch of documentation and also a really large SIM ejector tool, which is quite strange. You also get some stickers for OnePlus. Going further in the typical OnePlus fashion, you also get a note from Carl Pei telling you about their experience with the OnePlus community so far and how come they came about making the OnePlus 5. So that's exciting. You also get a dash charger. Now for every country, the size and the shape of the charger is different. In India, we get the Euro style charger. It is definitely bigger and differently shaped than what was seen in the OnePlus 3 and phones previous to that, but it is a 5 volt and 4 amp charger, so it continues the dash charge capability. And then you also get a standard USB to USB Type-C cable, and that is about everything from the box of the phone itself. Now, before we get moving on, like I said, there are two options of the phone available and two color options of the phone available, and you can look at the options right now. Both have dual cameras on the back, as you can see, but the finish of the phone is pretty sleek. It curves in to the center from both edges on the back and it fits comfortably in your hand. If we talk a little bit about the dimensions of the phone, it is only 7.25 millimeters in terms of thickness and 153 grams in terms of weight. So all in all, a pretty well balanced phone as far as design and comfort is concerned. Now let's do a quick one over with the devices. Now over at the front you get a Sony sensor, which is the 16 megapixel sensor. It's an IMX371. You get a 1 micron pixel size and you get electronic image stabilization similar to what was seen in the Google Pixel on the main camera. You do have an f2 aperture, so it's fairly wide, but it's not the widest front-facing camera aperture that we've seen. The front-facing camera does capture 1080p video and it also has the capability of capturing time-lapse, which is unique to the OnePlus 5. Now below that is a 5.5-inch display. No, you do not get an edgeless or a bezel-less design on this, so you still get bezels on the top and the bottom, and you get fairly prominent bezels on either side of the display. Speaking of the display, it's a 5.5-inch 1920 by 1080p display. It's still an AMOLED display, and it does have 401 pixels per inch. It is protected by a 2.5D Corning Gorilla Glass 5, so you get latest in terms of the glass protection on the front, and there is also a screen protector which is pre-installed on the device. Now below the screen is the main fingerprint sensor, flanked on either side by two dots, which can either be the back button or the multitasking button, and you can also customize this. On the bottom of the device is the USB Type-C port, along with the two screws that hold everything together, the main microphone, and the 3.5mm headphone jack, which the phone continues to have. And on the opposite side of the headphone jack is the main speakerphone. Over to the right is where your power button is and also your SIM tray. The phone does take in two SIM cards, both of them are nano SIM cards, and it does support dual SIM card capabilities with dual active SIM cards. On the left of the device is your notification slider. It's pretty common with OnePlus devices and they've continued to have it. It's got a nice textured button. Everything is made out of aluminum and metal, so it feels really nice. And just under that is the main volume button, which allows you to increase or decrease your volume on the fly like any other Android device. Now on the back are the main cameras. The main camera is a Sony IMX398 sensor, which is a 16 megapixel sensor with a 1.12 micron pixel size. It too has electronic image stabilization and an f1.7 aperture. Much like the iPhone, the second sensor is a telephoto sensor, which is an IMX350, and it is a 20 megapixel sensor with a pixel size of 1 micron. You also get a lower or a less wide f2.6 aperture on this camera. You can see noise cancellation microphone next to the main cameras, which is also the main microphone for video capture, and then you also have dual LED flash. The phone can capture 4K video at 30 frames per second, 1080p at 60 frames per second, and slow-mo 720p at 120 frames per second, along with things like time-lapse. Now, the phone is powered by a 3300 mAh power battery, and they've managed to fit it really well in this sleek frame of the device, and it does support dash charge with 5 volts and 4 amps in their typical fashion. Now, running everything is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 835. It's an octa-core chipset with 2.45 GHz on the clock speed. You also get the Adreno 440 GPU. The slate gray color over here has 6 GB of RAM and 64 GB of onboard storage, whereas the midnight black color has 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of onboard storage. Now, the RAM is LPDDR4X, whereas the storage is UFS 2.1, which is a 2-lane storage. Now, as far as Oxygen OS is concerned, the phone runs 4.5, which is essentially Android 7.1.1. You will get some bug fixes and updates the minute you get your phone. It's recommended that you install them before you move on. The user interface is really fast and responsive, it goes without saying, with the kind of specifications there are on the device. You still continue to get the shelf sitting on the left of the main home screen. Again, you can customize it according to your requirements. If we jump into the camera, a whole lot has changed as far as the camera interface is concerned. You can pop into the main menu from the left 3 dots, which allows you to choose the kind of capture you want to do, like a photo, video, portrait, a pro mode, time-lapse, slow motion, or panorama. Much like in the case of a Samsung device, you can simply swipe left or right on the screen to zoom in to your subject with up to 2x optical zoom thanks to the telephoto camera. The device also features things like the depth effect, which also sort of is something that the iPhone 7 Plus does. It allows you to click a portrait mode, blurring out the background. This feature is also available on devices like the LG G6 and the Xiaomi Mi 6. Now, you continue to get gestures on the device, but in this scenario, with certain gestures which are common, like double tap to wake and flip to mute, you can customize the drawing gestures, allowing you to launch a particular app or launch a particular function by making a drawing. So if you can draw an O to launch a camera in the traditional format, you can now change it to anything else, like launch a new tab in Google Chrome. This functionality will come in handy to a lot of people who like accessing certain things on the fly. So if you're on Instagram all the time, you can have a custom gesture to quickly jump into Instagram, click a picture. Now, OnePlus has also added a whole lot of new quirks and features onto the operating system, which is Oxygen OS, and we're going to be checking that out in the full review. If you have any particular questions or queries about the device, do drop them in the comment section below. To get full details on the launch, availability, and the pricing, everything else is in the description below. Just head on over to that link. And until I see you next time, guys, this is me, Bharat Nagpal. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.